Starting off hot can give your whole clubhouse a ton of confidence along with your fan base. The 2018 Red Sox started their season 17-2, never slowing down and cruising their way to a World Series championship. But sometimes starting off hot can only get you so far. The 1955 Dodgers started 10-0. Jackie Robinson, Gil Hodges, Pee Wee Reese, Duke Snider, Roy Campanella, and Sandy Koufax were on this team. Those 6 Hall of Famers would get up to 25-4 before a 4-game losing streak. Their longest losing streak of the season twice. A first half of 58-26, a 56-21 home record, and they'd blow out their opposing team 32 times. They'd go on to win the National League by 13.5 games. In the World Series, they'd go down 2-0 against the Yankees, who were looking to win their 6th World Series in 7 seasons. The only season they didn't, they'd win 103 games and miss the playoffs. It was brutal back then. Brooklyn came back to take a 3-2 series lead, and World Series MVP Johnny Padres would toss a complete game while Gil Hodges would bat in both runs to take home the Brooklyn Dodgers' first and only championship before moving to Los Angeles. Okay, so bad first example, but how about the 1962 Pirates, who also started 10-0? I have to show you the logo from that season. He's got that lip bite, Riz as the kids call it today. The 2 most notable players on this team were Bill Mazeroski, who did this just 2 years prior, and Roberto Clemente. It only took until the 28th game to go from that 10-0 start back to 500. They eventually started winning again and got back 24 games over 500 in late July, getting them back within 3.5 games of first, but another losing streak of 8 of 9 games got them back in a hole they couldn't overcome, finishing 7.5 back of first and 4th in the National League. A 93-68 record will get you in the postseason most years, especially in today's expanded playoffs, but not back in 1962. Clemente would win his 2nd championship 9 years later, and that team used the strategy of losing 8 games before picking up win number 10 that year. And it doesn't matter if your team is on a winning streak, losing streak, out of playoff contention, a World Series favorite, nothing will ever be a great day at the ballpark. And with SeatGeek, a sponsor I've worked with for years, you can now enter my promo code BREWPACK, exactly where our channel name is spelled, and get yourself $20 off your first purchase. And that's not just for baseball games, basketball, football, hockey, concerts, nearly anything that requires a ticket. Go check out SeatGeek after watching this video. Now to the next team. The 1966 Cleveland Indians also started 10-0. Cleveland had a rough time deciding what direction they wanted Chief Wahoo looking. This season they chose this way, but at least it wasn't this logo from 1928. No Hall of Famers on this team, but the most notable one was right fielder Ricky Colavito. Extending to a 27-10 record and 4.5 game lead in the American League would be the peak of their season. In September, the Indians would fall 19.5 games back and finish with a 500 record. A 10-game winning streak is never easy, but it's worth knowing who they play in those first 10 games. The Senators, Red Sox, Yankees, Kansas City Athletics, and Angels would all finish below 500. The Indians and now the Guardians, Cleveland has still yet to finish the job since 1948, going 0-3 in the Fall Classic. The 1981 Oakland Athletics started 11-0, the first and only team to start 11-0, then lose their next game in baseball history. A very odd season overall. On June 12th, the Players Union would meet with the owners and accomplish nothing, stating the strike is on. The season would resume on August 10th. At that time, 38% of the season schedule would be canceled by then. As a result, the owners would make the first and second half division champions play each other in what we know today as the League Division Series, 13 years before it was officially part of the MLB playoffs. Rickey Henderson headlined this team, but Oakland didn't have much to play for after they won the first half of the AL West. In the ALDS, A's pitching gave up just 2 runs in a 3-game sweep of George Brett and the Royals. In the ALCS, the A's had to face the Yankees. That Yankees team had Dave Winfield and Mr. October Reggie Jackson hitting back-to-back in the lineup. A Greg Nettles 3 RBI double, which definitely should have been caught, would put the dagger in the A's season and send the Yankees to their 33rd World Series at the time. The 1982 Braves would start off 13-0. The 2 greatest starts in MLB history were 13-0, both in the 80s. First, the 82 Braves, not the Morgan Wallen song, headlined by the MVP of that season, Dale Murphy, and lone Hall of Famer on the team, their ace, Phil Niekro. The 13-0 start was quickly followed by a 5-game losing streak. A first half of 51-33 would leave them with a 2-game lead at the break, a lead that quickly went up to 9 games early in the second half. It took just 12 games for them to go up 9 games to second place in the West. They'd go 4 back in mid-August, putting them in danger of making the playoffs. The Braves would go back and forth with the Dodgers and Giants for the NL West title. An 8-game losing streak by the Dodgers in the final 2 weeks, and the Giants having a mid second half propelled the Braves into the postseason, winning the National League West. They'd face the NL East champions, the Cardinals, in the NLCS, who'd make quick work of the Braves in a 7-0 blowout in Game 1, a come-from-behind win in Game 2, and the Cardinals would finish off the sweep in Game 3. The 82 Braves couldn't get it done, but how about the other 13-0 team, the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers? As a Brewers fan, I recognize just about all of these guys, but there was still two Hall of Famers on this team, Paul Molitor and Robin Yount. Starting 13-0, this team had a chance to put their names in the history book, and they kinda did, but not the one you want to be in. Two of the more iconic moments in the franchise's history happened during this streak: the lone no-hitter by only one pitcher, and Easter Sunday, which was a 9th inning comeback by Rob Deere and Dale Swaim. Yeah, in other franchises, it wouldn't be a top 100 moment, but my team has been to one World Series, so we have different standards. The team would get up to 17-1 and 20-4. Then they lose 18 of 20 in May to fall back to just one game over 500. It took until July 8th, but the Brewers would fall under 500. A hot second half would let them finish 20 games over, but it was too late as they'd still finish 3rd in the East and 7 back overall, missing the playoffs. Only 3 of the 6 teams who started at least 10-0 would go on to make the postseason, and only the 1955 Dodgers would go on to finish the job. A 16% success rate. Chances are you won't want your favorite team to start undefeated. The truth seems to be a good amount of teams who start or even have a full season being hot, or I guess at that point being good for 162 games, don't win it all. The 98 Yankees, who some would call the greatest team of all time, 53 Yankees, 39 Yankees, 28 Yankees. Okay, let's just ignore that whole franchise. Other than them, the 1946 Red Sox started 49-1, lost the World Series. And whatever you do, do not win the most games in baseball history like the 1906 Cubs and the 2001 Mariners. Even the teams who have won the second most, again, the Yankees don't exist here, the 54 Indians and the 22 Dodgers also came up short. But hold on, because we're not done yet. The 2023 Tampa Bay Rays decided to go on their own little 10-0 streak to start the season.
Franco, fly ball drilled back into center. Got some carry on it at the wall, and that baby is gone. He lifts a fly ball deep into left. Capel will go to the track. That baby's gone. Grand slam. Shoots one deep into left center field with good carry on it, and that ball is gone. Randy Arozarena. The 3-2. Swung on. High drive. Deep to right center. That baby is gone. Rays will grab the left. Broken bat ground ball right side. Lau with the toss. Rays win it. It's a 1-0 final. The Rays win their 10th consecutive game to begin the season.